This is one area that you won't hear in another putting video. It is not your job to make putts, okay? I want you guys to understand that. You do not have to worry about making putts because that's not your job. Making putts is an outcome-based goal. In other words, if I took you to the first hole and I said, I want you to shoot even par today, for some of you that might be out of your realm, but you have to understand that you cannot control shooting even par on the first tee box. The only way you shoot even par is you hit the fairway in the first hole, you hit the green, hopefully you make the putt, and if you don't, if you miss the fairway, you hopefully hit it on the green, and if not, you get it up and down, and so on and so forth. And as you play each hole, the total score, which is even par, is what we're choosing. That is the outcome. It is the process of how you're going to hit fairways, hit greens, that adds up to that score. Same thing here with putting. Your job is not to make putts. That's an outcome-based goal. What we're trying to do is get into the process. And what I need you guys to understand, because there will be a test afterwards, there are 3 factors that go into making a putt. The first one is speed, okay? Speed in its simplest form is related to practice, okay? The second area that we're going to talk about is roll. Roll in its simplest form, which we're going to have a line on our golf ball and it's going to roll end over end if our putting stroke is good. That is technique. And break, which is the final area, is experience. So the 3 factors that go into making a putt are speed, roll, and break. And it's important that you guys understand that, because when we go in here, you're going to learn that only 2 of these factors you can control. So again, speed, practice. What I want to talk about right now is roll, and we're going to give you some drills here in a little bit to work on your speed. But again, the roll of the ball, which is really my job, that is the technique. And what we're going to do here is we've got a golf ball, and a lot of them just have a little line, and we're going to actually line this ball up. When I've taken a little Sharpie and I have colored in the line, so that way it's a solid line here. And as I putt here, when I set up here, what we're looking for as I go, that line should roll end over end, and that's what I want. If the line rolls end over end, that's a good thing. That tells me my stroke is good. If I line this up and my stroke is bad, if it's outside in, inside out, this ball will not roll end over end. And that's what we need to understand here, is that the roll of the ball is based on your technique. The technique that we worked on in the previous section, when you work on that, that will give you a good roll of the ball. The third area is experience, okay? And that is basically reading greens. The great thing about, reading greens and having an experience, if you basically poured water on this green, which way would it run? Well, for the camera purposes, it's going to run this way. This putt is pretty straight. It's a little bit from right to left, so the water's going to run slightly towards me. How much is it going to break? That is going to come into experience, and we will at one point talk about how much it will break, but for the most part, that's just going to come into experience. And if you guys can nail your roll, nail your speed, reading greens becomes easier, okay? So what we're looking for here for you guys is the 3 factors that go into making putts is speed, roll, and break. After you do that, what I want you guys to understand is if I hit this putt here, you guys, so I'm here, I hit this putt, the line rolls end over end, and hypothetically, that if that one misses, I want you guys to understand that you have an option to become one of 2 players at this point. This is going to be crucial to your psyche, to your mental approach to putting. You can either be a scientist or a judge. Okay, a judge is what I see from a lot of kids where they miss a putt and they get upset, they throw their hands in there and they're like, oh, I can't buy a putt today. My putting is terrible. I'm sure all of you, including myself, have said that to ourselves at one point, okay? When you do that, when you say, oh, I can't make a putt, or my putting's so bad, I can't buy a putt, all you're doing is just taking down your mental, your mental confidence. And as we know, putting is mostly confidence. So we need to keep our confidence up. A scientist, on the other hand, if he does an experiment and it blows up in his face, he's not really concerned about that. What he's concerned about is the why. Why did it blow up? What chemicals did he mix together? And that's what I want you guys to do here. I want you to become a scientist. So if I hit this putt, just like this, I'm going to line up this line, and I'm going to commit to a speed. We will get into that with a game here in just a second called front, middle, back. But in this case, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go middle speed. I line up, I hit this putt, okay? The roll was end over end, the break was exactly where I wanted, which was right edge, and the speed was good. So in this case, of those three factors, my speed was exactly what I wanted, which was medium speed. And we'll get into that in a little bit more detail as far as what is medium speed. The roll was end over end, which is technique. Why did I miss that putt? Well, I misread it. Okay, and everyone has watched golf on TV where the commentators say everyone's misread this putt. And you've got to imagine when those guys, those tour players are misreading putts, they've got charts of the greens, they've got the best caddies in the world, they've played the course, they've got as much local knowledge as you would on your course, and they still misread greens. So that's the one factor that you cannot control. You can control the speed, you can control the roll. The experience, which is reading greens, that's the one area you can't. So I hit this putt, I hit it perfect speed, I had a perfect roll and I missed it. I am walking off this green positive because even though I missed the putt, all right, I did what I can control. I cannot control everything. I cannot control, you know, the break of the green. There are spike marks, there are imperfections on the screen that you can't control. But if you can control that speed and that roll, that's what you're after. And that's something that I want you guys to understand. In golf, there are four things that can really happen, all right, over every shot. You can be committed to the shot and pull it off. You can be committed and not pull it off. You can be uncommitted and get lucky and hopefully it's a good shot. Or you can be uncommitted and not pull it off. And I want you guys to imagine this putt right here is to win the club championship, okay? I hit that putt. I was committed to the line, I was committed to the speed, and I was committed to the roll. Everything I did there was perfect. It didn't go in. I can walk off, even though I lost, I can walk off knowing that I did everything possible to win, to give myself the best chance of making that putt, if you will. If I hit this putt and I'm like, man, I don't know which way this is gonna break, I don't know how hard to hit it, and I get up here and I'm uncommitted and I don't pull it off, those are the ones that that are really gonna sting you down low. So when we're putting, remember those three factors that go into making a putt are speed, roll, and break, okay? Speed is related to practice in its simplest forms, roll is related to technique, and break is related to experience. So after you do that, guys, remember, we want you to become a scientist, not a judge. A judge gets upset. If you, again, what you need to understand, if you commit to a speed and you don't hit it the right speed, all that is practice. If you call me up, and I say this to my students, call me up, let me know what's going on with your putting. First question I'm gonna ask you, was it speed, roll, or break, right? If you tell me speed, I'm gonna tell you to go get your rear end out on the putting green and practice. So that's a simple solution to fixing your speed. If it's roll, if it's technique, then I want you guys to come in and see me right away. And that's something that we're gonna go over here with some putting drills that will really help you with your technique. But if it's break, everyone misreads greens. Not everyone reads the greens correctly. But as you nail your speed and you nail your roll, you will start learning how to read greens better. One area I want to discuss with you guys is about the difference between being an eye line and an eye guy and a field guy. Whichever one you are, I really don't care. I have great putters that are eye guys, and I have great putters that are field guys. And what I mean by this is when you guys are standing back here, you've read the putt at this point. In this case, this putt goes a little bit from right to left. So I've got my line lined up, sort of right edge. I come back, the line, it looks exactly at the right edge. I come up, and this is what's great too, and let me just take a side note here about having the line on the putter. If you have a line on a putter and you use a line on the putter, it's so simple to line up this ball, or to line up the putter and line up your body to that ball. Because again, I've got a machine that actually measures 28 things with your putting stroke, all right? I didn't really realize that there were 28 things you could learn about your putting stroke, but basically what it has told me is if someone setups to the ball squarely, they have a better stroke back and forth. And I don't care if you're comparing Tiger Woods stroke to Tiger Woods stroke. If you set up to the ball squarely, subconsciously your mind knows that it's correct and it produces this proper stroke. Again, it doesn't matter which type of guy you are, whether an eye guy or field guy. What it matters though is that you determine what you are at home. So the idea of how to determine this, I'm an eye guy, but again, like I said, I have a lot of guys that are feel guys. It doesn't matter. So when I set up my line here, I look at it and I say, okay, that looks correct. When I stand up over it and if I say, man, that doesn't feel right, again, I want to come back, look at it and say, well, yeah, maybe I can play a little bit more or maybe a little bit less, whatever your feel is telling you. But again, it really determines, you're going to have to choose which one you're going with. And again, I'm not saying the word trust, okay, because there is a difference. I don't trust that this is aimed correct, but I'm going to commit to this line. And again, we've all been there before when we're on the putting, you know, when we have a putt and we're like, I don't know which way this is going. How many times do we make those putts? Not very often. But again, what we can do here is if we can get you to commit to the stroke, all right, your stroke is going to get better. So again, I've got this line here. I like it. It doesn't feel right, so I'm committing to it. Again, I'm going to hit this putt, just trying to get my roll to be end over end. And it was perfect. So again, in this situation, my eyes were correct, my feel wasn't. Once you determine which guy you are, that's going to make things a lot easier for you when you take it to the course. So the important thing, remember, eye guy, feel guy, doesn't matter which one you are, get at the putting green, try it, line up the line where you want it to go. If your feel's off, commit to it. Just try to nail your speed, nail your roll, and you're set. And it'll tell you which guy you are, whether the eye guy or feel guy. It'll help you out a lot on the golf course, promise you.